Chris and I have been following the Bloodline storyline since day one, right, Oos?
Since day one, Oos.
Since day one. And I couldn't I feel like you were watching more than I was, and you would just text me, you have to watch it. And you would always share, like, you have to watch this. You have to watch this. Like, this is so good storytelling. And I know how much you and I love storytelling, especially when it comes to our wrestling. Um, so the reason I like this is like this pod, like this tonight's pod or today's pod is mainly going to focus on like what do they do from here? What's going to happen? So Monday, I wasn't surprised that they immediately announced that Cody was going to go for the title, face Roman. Kind of obvious, but they're obviously portraying or not portraying it. They're billing it as for the undisputed title, so both.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
what more shocking was I think that they also did Rhea right away. I thought that was a little interesting. It was like, so they really just want to get it out the way. I'm like, okay, cool. I respect that. Wasn't expecting
Mm.
that. Um, so like, what are your thoughts? I think we know your thoughts you about at least the Bloodline storyline, but what do you think of the booking so far? I know you did your reaction for Sammy, so you can include a little bit of that if you want, but I want to get your like general thoughts of the booking so far and where could they take it. So basically, like, I have my fantasy booking, and I want to hear your fantasy booking ideas.
Well, I wanted to thank whoever was clicking on the Sami Zayn video I did because it's up to like 500 views, which is kind of cool.
Oh wow, nice
I
man.
didn't, yeah, that's, I mean, that was a fun thing to talk about. I didn't really think I was going to talk for that long, but then 30 minutes
Come
later,
on, come on. Every
30
time,
minutes
we're
later.
not. We'll do a quick one. We're gonna talk real quick. Yeah,
I know, but
okay.
by myself, that's a long time to talk to myself.
Yeah,
But
you have
anyway,
things
thank
to
you to
say.
everybody that checked out that episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the Cody thing makes sense. There's only one championship, or there's like only one champion. So
yeah,
unless he was going to challenge for the United States title, which we've seen somebody else take
and
their
unify
briefcase
that.
and do that. But yeah, that made sense. And the Rhea Ripley thing, I kind of get where you're coming from. Like they could have dragged it out a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, but I was thinking about it, and she kind of has just as much history with Charlotte as she does with Bianca. I think people just kind of wanted like a fresh matchup on the main roster. But I think they want Bianca and Rhea to be champions at the same time. So that's why they're
yeah.
not making them face each other.
Yeah. I thought they would drag it out more, but I'm not surprised that it went like right away to Charlotte. It made sense to me just because of like like Charlotte has that one win over her, especially at WrestleMania, even though it was COVID mania.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And Rhea deserves. I was thinking like they're probably gonna I guess like you can't really lose. Like people are gonna have always complain about, maybe a matchup they weren't hyped about, but
hmm
you could have also done Charlotte Asuka, because Asuka definitely has a reason to want to beat Charlotte since she
hmm
ended the undefeated streak. But I think Asuka Bianca is also, I'm assuming that's what the match is going to be. That's also a money match. So you really could do any combination of these four wrestlers and it'd be totally fine. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was also thinking like, because I mean we haven't paid attention for a long time pre Triple H, but like, did Vince book Mania matches this or like in early in advance?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like two main title. I mean, I guess there's only like one men's title right now, but
Basically.
like pretty far to put the graphic up. But yeah, like from that sense, from that perspective, it made sense. What did you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised Cody came out like he and that's like that. I think that plays to his character, like because he's made it clear when he first came in here. So why would he wait and drag it out? Makes perfect sense. Um, it just goes with who he is, you know. So say it, the graphic and the pointing and the WrestleMania and the road to WrestleMania. I like it. It's something that needs to like stop sugarcoating it. Just kind of do it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of in a tough spot because they have both belts on one person,
Right.
so
Well,
he can't even like really choose. I mean, I guess technically
yeah.
you're allowed to go for the NXT title, but
Yeah, he is.
there was no like I think it was like back in WrestleMania 23 when The Undertaker chose Batista, but they had like John Cena, Bobby Lashley, and Batista all in the ring, and Undertaker came out and chose
Hmm.
Batista. But you can't do that when there's only one person who's the
Yeah.
champion of everything. So it's kind of like, what's the point of, just have Cody go out there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna face Roman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. Um, I guess so now with like, yeah, we know it's Cody. Is there a chance? I guess you can mini fantasy book this real quick. Is there a chance, or is any universe, or I mean, there's probably a universe out there, but is there a chance in this universe we're in right now that they ununify and it's just Cody versus Roman for one title? I think that's what
Yeah,
everyone's talking about. I'm sure no one
yeah.
cares about our opinion, but I wanna know, let's genuinely talk about it. Like, I guess.
I I think so. I mean, it does seem like they're sticking to the Sammy plans that they had back in like October
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of him and Roman facing at Elimination Chamber.
Right.
That match is apparently for the Universal, Unified Championship. I thought there was a
Right.
chance that it could just be a non-title match, like really make Sammy earn it, sort of thing. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about this and like, I'm kind of at the point now where if it's not Sami Zayn, I just don't think anybody should be Roman Reigns. I think he should just like retire.
Okay.
It's like an unbeaten champion.
Good.
Um, but I think that if someone was gonna beat him, not named Sami Zayn, based on the current crowd reaction, Cody's about as safe a choice as you could possibly go with.
Safest choice, but also I respect what everyone's saying, and they are on a thin line in a way, or at least Cody's on a type wire where the wrong breeze or the wrong booking decision, he's gonna get booed.
But like when? Because it would have I would have thought like they've had a couple opportunities now to boo the decision of Cody being in the WrestleMania main event, and I mean the crowd like loved him when he won.
Yeah.
He came out number 30, already announced. This wasn't John Cena in
Mm-hmm.
2008, like coming out of nowhere to win the Rumble at number 30. This was,
Mm-hmm.
he said he was going to be in the Rumble. They ran all these video packages. He comes out at number 30,
Mm-hmm.
throws the guy out who had been there since the literal beginning of the match, comes out the next night, also gets cheered. I mean, and like they're not going to put him against anyone between now and Mania that would potentially get cheered over him.
Right.
So I just, the idea of like, well, this is thin ice, like this could be a Batista situation. It's like, yeah, but he's not Batista.
Right.
This is
I mean,
this is an AEW. Like this is
I
a
get that.
crowd that's like way more casual. They're just happy that he's back. Like,
I wouldn't say they're all
I don't
casual.
know,
I
man.
don't know,
I
man.
feel
I
like
would
it would already
disagree
have
there.
happened.
This is why we got to have these conversations. I don't think they're that casual. Honestly, we I guess that's the one thing. Like, I like to think not all wrestling fans are like are. I think a lot of wrestling fans are very immersed in the wrestling world. WWE fans, yeah, you think of them as casual, but I just don't think that's true. I think they know, like, obviously they knew he was coming back. That's why they were hoping he would come back for WrestleMania, and so that's why he got the massive pop. The rumors that potentially, uh, um, that what was it? I want to think of I don't know if the Hardys was a potential leak. I don't think so. I think that was a secret. Anyways, it's just like people. I think if they know that who he is, and the mere fact that it's different is why he got cheered. However, now that he's here and he's still that vanilla, and I think he's pretty vanilla, and besides his promos, but he's a vanilla baby face that he just took over from AEW. And it does it work in WWE? Absolutely, because people are genuinely tired of Roman Reigns. Meanwhile, we're not. We could probably you wanted to go all the way until SummerSlam, him as champion and be dethroned there by somebody, and I respect that, you know. But I think it can happen. I think the wrong crowd can influence the rest of the WWE World Wrestling fans or universe, as they call it, into booing him. Um, the wrong, but I guess that's the good thing about Cody is that's why he's such a good promo. He'll fire you up and manipulate you in a way and just make you eat out of his hand and just say, "Yeah, yeah, you're saying good shit." Like that's what a good babyface promo or promo babyface is. Um, and that's something he'll never ever suck at. I think he's just mastered that. Um, but it's gonna be hard, I think, in terms of the ring storytelling, in ring storytelling or psychology, where it's like, you know, it could go wrong. Like, say if they put him up against Sammy and he beats Sammy, I think he would get booed. That's just my opinion. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think it's
I'm
gonna go
saying
down.
that, well, in terms of the audiences, I was comparing the WWE audience to the rest of the mainstream wrestling of like New Japan,
Sure.
AEW. I think of those three, the WWE audience is has the most casual fans in it. But
Yeah,
what I'm saying is like
yeah,
I don't think they would put Cody in a position where he would potentially get booed. Like I don't think he's gonna face Sami Zayn because
yeah. I
then he's
don't think so.
obviously not going to be
Yeah, I
the
don't think they'll
person
do
people are
that.
rooting for.
Trips is smart. He reads the
Yeah.
fans. I don't think they'll do that. Um, but stranger things have happened. I mean, look at the way they're booking Johnny Gargano. You would think he'd be being pushed from the to the moon, but he's not. Um, I don't know what
Well,
they're doing with Dexter Loomis. That's why I'm like, you just don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Cross is
they
not working out either.
I remember Dave Meltzer, I think maybe this was like yesterday or something. He was talking about the Elimination Chamber, like what is like the United States title and
Hmm.
then a women's number one contender match. So there's like
Ugh,
no
I have
top
PTSD from that.
titles.
That's a PTSD for me from the
Yeah.
Vince era. Sorry, man.
Um, but he basically said that like they're kind of just like, well, it doesn't really matter what else we put on the show because the thing that people want to see is
Yeah,
Sami Zayn versus
yeah,
Roman
yeah,
Reigns, which
yeah.
is very true.
It's very true.
And
But
like
for
the
that, then
people in
just do a
that,
1 hour show, you know?
right, like the people in that men's elimination chamber and the women's, like those are going to be amazing matches,
Hmm.
but like Roman Sammy's closing the show. Like this is how Triple
Absolutely.
H books his pay-per-views. Like he
Yeah.
puts one big thing, one big go home spot
Hmm.
and I don't know. I mean, I think like the Cody stuff, I do wonder kind of how fluid it is because Cody, if he's in the ring with heels, will get cheered. But you can't I mean, this isn't really even just a Cody thing. You can't put anyone else in the ring with Sami Zayn right now. Like he's just gonna get he's gonna out like he's gonna get a bigger pop than pretty much anyone. Like when he comes out on Friday, assuming he's
Yeah.
on the show, the place is gonna go nuts.
Probably.
And they're not gonna even be in Canada yet.
Yeah.
Like it's I think Cody's gonna be pretty heavily protected
Okay.
because I feel like they're very aware
Yeah,
of
of
like what
course.
happened with WrestleMania 30 or whatever
Hmm.
the Daniel Bryan one was.
Yeah.
Um, and they can't, and they spent a lot of money on Cody, so they can't
Mm.
risk have like bringing this guy in and then 3 months later everybody's booing him again.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't only just want also like the Batista effect, but you don't want the Roman Reigns effect, you know? Just but he luckily he can actually cut a promo. And his character, speaks for itself. It's like he has a story that's telling. He's trying to win the big win for his dad. And
Yeah,
he's not there's not one wrestling royal family. Makes great, love it. I guess this is also a good segue in terms of like, a pop for Sammy and like you can't put anyone else in the ring with Sammy. Well, there is one other person that I think you can, and it and the moment that the final closing scenes happen at the Royal Rumble with Jay not participating in the beatdown of Sammy, it instantly triggered like, huh, is he aligning himself with Sammy basically? Is he gonna do something with Sammy? Is he gonna protect Sammy? Is he gonna stand up for Sammy? So it just got me thinking, and the internet went wild also. Are they actually setting up Jay to be the one to either win a championship from Roman, if not one or two, both to be the unified champ, or be head of the table, or literally a combo of all of that? Could they be doing that? Do you think? Because I think it's very possible, obviously, with the booking decisions that they've been doing. And it's been there since day one because he, went to war with Roman. He bled with against Roman and suffered for his brother Jimmy. It's just bringing me back. That was good storytelling, and it's just like so there was a good video. There's a quick video from this YouTuber. I'll try and find it and send it to you. It's just like it's been there. It's always been there, and Jay's always been the reluctant rebel one of the
Hmm.
bloodline, and then it became Sammy, not the rebel, but the kind of like the outsider because Jimmy accepted it. Solo, was always down for it, but Jay was the one who had to fight, and then Sammy kind of had to prove himself. And then now this all happened, and it's like maybe it's PTSD for Jay. It's like, I get it, Sammy. I get why you didn't participate in the beatdown of your boy, because I wouldn't do that against my own brother. In fact, I watched my brother get slapped by this man, and I quit to save him. So it's just like there's a story there that would be so damn cool. And for me at least, as much as I love Sammy, like this is like maybe this has been hiding in plain sight, and I like it. It's like when you when you get a when you order a four-piece of chicken nuggets and there's like two fries in there. It's like, oh, wasn't expecting this. I think I like this. But yeah, what do you think of that idea and this narrative and potential setup that, and there is the setup's already there. We just don't know what's gonna happen with Jay. We'll maybe find out Friday. We're excited for Friday. I'm definitely gonna watch Friday. What do you think? What's going on with Jay? What do you think they could be doing? If you want a fantasy book, by all means, like what do you think?
Well, I kind of after the Royal Rumble angle, I have kind of just decided to like let this story take me wherever it's going
Okay.
because it's it seems very clear based on the fact that in October they were like it's going to be Sammy Roman at Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
That was they're planning this 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
And so that match comes up in 3 weeks. I don't think it's crazy to say that they already know where this is going. And like if they had predicted that Sammy would be so hot that Elimination Chamber would be the perfect place to do the match, then I can only assume that they've already like thought out everything that we already talked about. Like maybe this whole time Sammy was a red herring and Jay really is the person in there who has to um, take out the head of the table.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it in the solo episode. I thought potentially Triple H is kind of creating an injury contingency plan
Yeah, I
just
remember you
in
mentioned
case,
that. Yep.
um, because he had a lot of problems with one-on-one angles. And like we've seen this with like, in AEW with Kenny Omega getting injured and like Adam Cole getting injured. And like injuries kill these storylines no matter how hot they are.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, in the case of Gargano Ciampa, we ended up getting Gargano Adam Cole, which broke off into its own great story. But most
Yeah.
of the time, it's a real problem, and that just can't happen right now. That would be devastating.
Mm.
So I could see that being part of the reason for, maybe hinting at Jay being a little more of a big
All
player in
right.
all this.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know. It's funny. I actually think Jay might be the like one of the worst people to incorporate right now because the crowd wants Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really risky to take a different member and use them potentially instead or like
I
a
mean,
bait and switch. Like that almost seems
right. I could see it being a bait and switch and that going bad, but I don't know because I think,
depends how it
just
plays out though,
yeah,
right?
yeah, like
Like,
exactly. I was like, you just, took the words out of my mouth. It depends on how it
yeah.
plays out, but like the word I was gonna use is like how this whole thing has played out, which is has was letting it play out and it letting it grow organically. And I think
Yeah.
organically, like seeing Jay saved Sammy, my mouth dropped when that happened.
Oh, same.
Yeah, it's like
I
no,
was,
it's
yeah, I was
Jay.
ready for it to be over. Yeah.
And then just seeing him and then Sammy apologizing to Jay, my heart, my fucking heart.
The only one too. As soon
Yeah.
as he hit Roman, the only person he turned to was Jay, and he said, "I'm sorry, man." And the oh man, I just
And-
love that segment. But like when he says he's sorry, and then he just like tosses the chair aside.
yeah.
Like he's not even there to like fight the whole bloodline. It's
Yeah, I
like he
can't
knows
because he
what's
loves
gonna
him,
happen
but
next,
he
and like
doesn't love Roman. Yeah.
uh chair
And
like a chair is not gonna
and
save
Jay's
him
like,
against.
"No, you're my brother. I loved you like it's so like
Yeah.
so like I guess yes, we have to see what happens on Friday because then if the crowd is hot for Jay too,
Oh, for sure.
then there you go. Like there then you might okay, you don't have to do Jay, obviously. You don't. But then like after what you're seeing and witnessing and knowing if you know the history and you've been following since day one-ish, um you feel like it should be Jay because of what he's been through and what he's done and the history behind the bloodline. Because
Yeah.
it started with Roman saying basically get on your knees and get to work, not
Yeah.
not
Dude, it was like a
sexually.
gang initiation. He
Yeah.
like beat him into like submission.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy had to run out and like surrender for
Yeah,
Jay.
usually it's the initiation's like you gotta beat someone up to get in. Nah, it's like you gotta take this beating by
No,
me.
Roman's like a fucking old school just like mob boss.
Yeah, I
Like
guess so.
yeah, yeah, the early stages. But I guess I wonder like it does seem like they're pulling from the very like from all elements of the bloodline story like all the way back 3 or 4 years or whatever.
Mhm.
But I do wonder like I think you would almost need to sort of do a refresher just about the fact that Jay was the reason this whole thing started because like the recent stuff with him and Sammy is great and like Sammy's the only reason they retain the tag championships
Mhm.
and like Jay saving him from getting kicked out, but I don't know how much of the audience like remembers or was even paying attention for the non Sami Zayn bloodline stuff, specifically like the pandemic era, like
Mhm.
Roman beating him up and like, oh man, that Hell in a Cell match. Oh God.
That Hell in a Cell match, man.
Yeah. But it's funny. To me personally, I can't see Jey Uso winning the heavyweight title.
Mhm.
And that could change, but I could always see that for Sammy because he just always had like that Daniel Bryan 2.0 feeling of
Yeah,
like,
that huge underdog. Okay.
yeah, and Triple H booked him to the moon in NXT. Like he loved Sami Zayn. Like that report that came out about Vince and Triple H don't see him as the face of the company. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
Mhm.
The guy who fucking booked him to the moon in NXT all of a sudden doesn't think he has what it
I mean,
takes.
to
Yeah,
be
I don't.
fair, he barely got booked in NXT. He lost. He dropped the title to Owens like almost immediately after he won it.
Yeah, but that's how Triple H books like his babyface champions. Like he likes to beat them up a lot.
Yeah, but he never
Just
won
did the
it
same
back.
thing to
He did
Johnny
him dirty. He did
Gargano.
him dirty. That's true. He really hates the small guys now that I think he likes the
He
different
just like
looking dudes.
he knows that baby faces are
It's a
made from getting the
that,
shit kicked out of
that's a
them.
weird way of showing how much you love your baby faces by never having given them short runs and never look at Alistair. He did it. He barely had it and he
It's
lost it.
true. It's true.
It's a little too okay. Now we're about to transition
We're
to how
going on to an NXT.
how like Triple H is actually low key hates baby faces and gives them terrible title runs. Hopefully that's not
Um,
the case. And
yeah,
he's been waiting for Sammy's chance
to
his
get
whole life.
back
Yeah.
to Jey Uso though, I'm curious what you think because we are kind of along for the ride at this point. I think
Yes,
whatever
we are.
predictions people have,
Mm-hmm.
the path has already been set. Like they know where it's headed. They knew where it was headed 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're all being like, "Oh my God, it's got to be Sammy Roman." And they're like, "Yeah, we
Yeah.
already booked that match. We
Yeah. Yeah.
know." So, but do you think like let's pretend this doesn't end at WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a Jey Uso? This is we don't know what's going to happen with Sammy, Cody. No, we don't have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a potential Jey Uso SummerSlam main event because I think when it was him and Roman, I think it was like B shows. Like I don't think they had it was like Hell in a Cell.
I got Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash or something.
Yeah, there was like a Cesaro match in there somewhere.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I don't think Jay and Roman headlined a big show, but like Jay and Roman, let's say 5 months from now at SummerSlam, then I could potentially see Jay being hot enough. And because they already have two other members of the bloodline who could become the new tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have Jimmy and Solo. That
Mm-hmm.
could be the new Uso tag team. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't have to
exactly.
be Jay and Jimmy.
All right.
Also, Jimmy has all those DUIs, so like he probably shouldn't get any world
Yeah.
title pushes,
No, not gonna happen.
which I also think is probably why he's not that important in this story. But could you see that happening? Just assuming
Yeah,
no titles change hands for the next 5 months.
sure. Okay.
Jay keeps getting over and cheered and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely see them resetting up Jay because of like how organically it grew, like how his character was like, I despise this man. And then it became a complete 180 and said, I love this man. He is my brother.
Mhm.
And then it hurt him seeing his brother, his new brother being just like, j- you know, be decapitated by Roman and the rest of his family. Like this is family. We don't do this to family. And I think that's the line I said in my head. Like you don't do this to family. And that's probably what resonates with him. It's like even if he's not real blood, he's family now. Like he saved me in he got us to win. He's done so much for us. He completely committed himself to saving that man at the trial for the trial and against Heyman, against someone who advocates for the bloodline, for the family.
Yeah.
And so like I think he's immersed himself in saying like, you know, and completely now re like realign like not realign but like I guess realign himself and just inserted himself back in to into the main event. I mean, he was always there, but like now I think he's a key player. Yeah, I definitely agree that it could be setting up just for a just in case like Sammy gets hurt or something happens. He's the backup. But organically of this if people are reading into this, and I think they should, from again from day one when he came back and he challenged Roman up to this point, it could work in his favor. And yeah, give it more months booking, maybe he wins Money in the Bank. You know, he cashes in or not cashes in, or he like tells Roman straight up, like, I'm challenging you at SummerSlam. Like, we're doing this not just for the title, but for head of the table. And
Mm.
then there you go. There's your SummerSlam main event. And then in a way, like I feel like they've been doing the story for a long time, but also like I feel like Roman obviously his contract was set up to have less dates, so now he can have some time to recover, a gap year, and also he was trying to get into the movie biz,
Hmm.
Hollywood. So like this gives him time to just go do some projects or just fully remove himself from wrestling. So like right now, everything is aligning for Roman to lose, put someone over, um, and right off into the sunset temporarily or forever,
Hmm.
or just like that, like you said, like unless they're trying to wait for The Rock and have like The Rock do something special.
No, I think that's done.
I think it's done too,
If
but
he was
like
gonna be at WrestleMania, he'd be at this one.
yeah,
You
because of
know,
Hollywood, but it would be
well,
kind of
like him
cool.
showing up in Philadelphia next year just doesn't really
No, I
sound as
know.
sexy.
It would just be kind of cool too. It's just saying like my vote for head of the table to face you is Jay. Like, and then that's a good rub too, though, you know?
Yeah,
So, or even Sammy. I don't know. But
I would.
I definitely think it can grow organically if the
Yeah,
booking is done right and if people are accepting and again reading into what has been happening since 2000, since 2020 and up until
right,
now, then
right.
yes, it's long-term booking that's been like like that hasn't happened this long in forever,
Now
if
this
not
is
ever.
crazy.
Then
Yeah.
it would just be the cherry, extra cherry, sweet cherry, the perfect cherry on top of beautiful Sunday that's been built thanks to everyone involved in the bloodline, including Triple H. And I hate to say a little bit of Vince in there, but
No,
he's
no,
he's just a cup. He's just a cup that
no.
holds it.
Vince is the one that didn't want Sammy and Roman on
No,
TV
I
together.
know, I know,
So
I know.
no, he
But
gets no credit.
he's the
It's
one that got the
literally none.
bloodline together, though. He's the one who was doing it during the pandemic and letting Jay do this stuff. Like he's the
No,
one that signed
no, it
off,
was
though.
Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman and Roman were doing the
But
bloodline
he was
stuff.
signing off on it, Chris. You
No,
got it. I
no,
know.
no,
Look,
no.
I
We're not
hate him. I
giving
hate him
Vince any
too.
credit on
I
this
hate.
podcast.
I
Fuck
hate him.
Vince McMahon.
I fuck Vince
Um,
McMahon for sure. But come on.
he did say that when Roman came back, he should come back as a heel. So he didn't say how, but
Yeah. Right.
I did want to bring up real quickly
Yeah.
because this came out like maybe a couple days ago. I think it was like Wrestle Talk did a news episode about the Royal Rumble result from whatever year Bianca Belair won. I guess 2021, I think. I forget who won last year. Oh no, Becky. I think Becky won last year. Um, and they changed the result. I think it was going to be Charlotte, and then
2021.
somebody high up with influence went to Vince McMahon and was like, who
We're
maybe it was
not making
Triple
any new
H. I don't
stars.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone was like, you're not really making any new stars if you
You
have
got Edge
Charlotte win
winning,
again.
and you have Edge winning.
Right. My God. But it crossed my mind as we were talking that like maybe one of the extra factors in the Sami Zayn, who like in terms of the main event scene, that would be a new main event star. Like we haven't really seen Sammy get a main event shot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking beyond the bloodline angle, because eventually it has to end. Eventually, these characters have to exist outside of this crazy storyline. I think there's a chance that part of the goal here is to get two future main eventers out of this storyline
Mm-hmm.
in Jey Uso and Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
And like big main event names, like the way Cody can command a crowd, the way Finn Balor's been pushed into the main event over the last several months, even though he's a lot older now than he used to be.
Yeah.
But like, Jay and Sammy, you could get a solid 5, 7 years out of those two being main eventers, and eventually when this story does end, and you'd like to think that both of them can be associated with things other than the
Mm-hmm.
bloodline going forward. Um, those that could be part of the plan is like, hey, if we play this right, we might get two main eventers out of this, and then Roman, like you said, goes off to Hollywood. Solo and Jimmy become a tag team. I mean, it could work. It's
It
already
could work.
working.
Yeah, it is working.
There's a lot of potential here for the future in terms of building new stars out of a storyline built around one guy who's been in the company for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I just, at this point, like, yes, you're right. We have to go along for the ride, but it's still fun and also very hard not to think about what they could potentially do, which I know your gears are turning. You just won't tell me. You don't want to tell me, you cheeky bastard. That's fine. I'll let you have your moment.
No, dude, it's like we've spent so much time thinking about the bloodline story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I mentioned this, but like this idea that WWE was like wrote themselves into a corner now because they have this one person that's like super over
Mm-hmm.
nuclear amounts of like rabid fans, a pop so big it broke the audio system.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, to me, as I'm pulling back now, it kind of seems like they did it on purpose.
Hmm.
Like, is it writing yourself into a corner if you do it on purpose and it's the outcome you wanted?
Not
Like, now
really, I
they have
guess.
this
Yeah.
mega star that people are like losing their minds over.
Yeah.
And
A whole nation was chanting for him, and he can't even be in there, or he
right,
doesn't want to
like,
risk there being there.
dude, that was crazy. But like, it just seems to me like everything that I would have wanted to happen
Mm-hmm.
has happened already.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I'm like looking at future angles, like thinking about the Elimination Chamber match, which I'm fully aware is going to be like a very story heavy match,
Yeah,
lots of interference. Like
potentially. Yeah.
I kind of just want to enjoy it. And like,
Let's enjoy it together.
yeah, because
Well, I
the
can't.
finale of the Royal Rumble, not knowing how it was gonna go, but also sort of knowing exactly how it was gonna go,
Hmm.
but just like watching it all unfold and all those performances were just incredible. But it was just like, it was just, I don't know, it was nice to finally get like, you know what it was? I felt safe getting lost in a wrestling storyline. It was like, oh, I can like suspend my disbelief and like just get lost in this crazy story because the person in charge of it all is also totally in love with the storyline and like wants to pay it off. And it was just nice to be like, for the first time, like, oh man, we better enjoy this before Vince gets bored and like just cancels it and like breaks up a tag team or whatever. Like,
Hmm.
just like I'm enjoying the ride.
I'm enjoying the ride too, bro. And I guess with that being said, thank you so much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Three Amigos podcast, 2 out of 3 tonight. Me and Chris just going kind of off the rails, kind of venting and talking, just discussing what we think about the future of the Bloodline and the future of, the main event bookings of WWE. And it's a crazy and fun ride. It's going to be a wild ride, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as we are. I know Ant's not enjoying it because Sami Zayn's in the picture, but that's okay because he's wrong. Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.